What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. So we are gonna take a look at Iron Man 2 Tony Stark suit up version, the deluxe, and you can order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link now, but it's actually on sale as of the time of this review. It's like 8% off, so it's pretty good savings, plus $4 shipping. You can double box your item and you can put it on your pile of loot, which I did here. And I got a few more items to come, but let's take a look at this unboxing first of Tony Stark. I am an Iron Man fan. I might not pick it up right away, but I will pick up every Iron Man that I could. I wanted this. I want the Silver Centurion one. I also wanted to get the because I just got Mark 1. I'm on the wait list for Mark 3. But I also wanted that the one with the mech test version. But you know, slowly, that's also on sale. So maybe next time I'll go ahead and do that. But I prioritize this one because I love Mark 5. I said on my other video, because I do have Mark 5, I always wanted to have that in-between look. Like, he's not Tony Stark, he's not Iron Man, but somewhere in between. Because I remember having, that's what drawn me into the Call to Action Superman from Sideshow back then. Because it's in between. He's changing from Clark Kent to Superman. There's something about that image that just, I don't know. It's, you know, he's tearing his suit, and then you can see the Superman logo underneath. It kind of resembles this, and you got the battery cell right there. It kind of resembles this, so I was like, I need to get one eventually, right? And then I've seen some reviews saying that this is kind of flimsy, not, you know, it's tough to work with, so it kind of drew me away. But finally, with the sale, I was just like, you know what? And the lack of releases that interest me, really, I was just like, why not? You know what? Let me go ahead and dive in back to the Marvel world. And as you can see here, there's a lot of pieces with this figure, a lot. So you're not gonna have, you're not gonna be bored doing this. The only downside to so many pieces is that if you want to display him, just the racing suit Tony, where are you gonna put all those pieces? You know, I found a way. I bagged it, but but it all depends on how you wanna tackle this. So let's take a closer look at the accessories, and there's tons of them to choose from. Let's start off with this chest piece with the abdominal section that is removable. You could remove this easily if you have the tools, which is if you bought previous Iron Man. You have, you know, the screwdriver and the little tool to pry things open, and then it does have this little tweezers, whatever. You could remove they're a bit scary at first, but once you kind of know the anatomy and how they snap, it's not as bad as they make it out to be. Like I said, the reason it took me this long is I listened to the reviews, and I kind of went away with it. And this is the back part right here. Make no mistake, this is not a walk in the park, but it's also not nothing like assembling a damn toys soldier. If you've assembled a military figure before, that is tedious to insert those little pouches and buckles, and I'd take this over that any day of the week. Let's just put it that way. At least with here, if you decide to sell him down the line, you could put everything back in the box. Good luck doing that with a military figure. Once you assemble that bad boy, that ain't coming off. I can tell you that. Now, look at the pieces right here. They're plastic. They're nice quality. Pretty much once you lay it down like I did here, you know, visually you can tell where everything goes. The question becomes, where are the snapping points? Because they're all friction based. We've all heard it. If you're watching this video, maybe at some point you were interested in this. It is plastic, there's no magnet. Should have been magnet, but it's not. But I'm telling you, it's still pretty darn good. It has shortcomings. I'll be the first one to admit it, but I'm happy it exists, and I'm okay with this because I don't know if you make it. The only thing I can think of, because you can't make this die cast, it'll be too heavy for the regular body. If the only thing I can think of is like still make it plastic, but with a thin sheet of maybe magnets on both sides, or maybe the body itself has some points where the magnet would just snap into the body itself. I think that's the best way to do this, but it's not, and it's okay. And this is the deluxe version. So what you're seeing right now, in my opinion, you can display this suitcase in several different ways, but this is where it's gonna leave mine in this form, which is he's just about to use it. You can make this like a real briefcase, which I do have that in Mark V. It doesn't transform. There's so many options in here. You can play around with it if you want to. I won't, but this is the best version for me, at least. There's only like 30 bucks in difference here. So I would recommend this, but if you're not interested in the briefcase at all, you can skip this altogether. And this is the base. You see the pavement, and then you can remove it to have it Stark. But let's take a look at the tailoring for the Tony Stark Team Suit Racing. The material that they used here, as you can see at the bottom, it's more like, I wouldn't call that pleather, it's more like rubber plastic. The suit itself is rubber. That is a fake zipper, by the way. It doesn't really zip down. It reminds me of like a Spider-Man / Superman type of material, which is not bad because, as you know, they bounce back. You got the gloves in here. I don't think that's pleather, honestly. It feels more like this bottom part right here. I mean, does that mean it's gonna peel? It doesn't feel like it's a pleather. It feels more like a rubber, honestly. It would still melt, make no mistake about it, but it feels like it's less likely to do that. Moving up here, it's two-tone. You see the blues and the black. As just this figure itself, you can display him without those pieces. And I think for the most part, this is how he's gonna look like in my collection. I wish there was a throwaway body so we can use those, maybe a third-party body, right? Because I feel like it's such a waste to cover this beautiful figure. And by the way, the hands, you put batteries in them because you can light up those hands. I'm not gonna do that, but you could. I inserted the battery anyway. You can see his pants flare out, and the racing shoes as well. It's nice. Let's go to the head sculpt. The strongest, I would say, part of this figure is this head sculpt right here. The way they sculpted the hair, it is damn beautiful. It is beautiful. The head sculpt itself, the damage on his face, I think they captured the likeness. I don't know if the picture that I showed earlier was the source material for this head sculpt, but it could have been, since it's closed, just the mouth is not open and his eyes is looking, in a different manner. But I wish this was announced sometime last year. This could have had purse, and maybe the parts would have been, a bit forgiving. But nonetheless, you can't deny the fact that this is an incredible head sculpt. The blood on his face it looks like a real blood from here. You can see there's like the shine to it, and then gradiently going down, dripping down his face. It is beautiful. I have whiplash as well. So, in the future, I'm sure I'm going to have some fun making them interact to each other in my display in photography. And this is another option that you could do with the head sculpt, is put the unfinished helmet on, which looks beautiful, by the way. Full disclosure, I do have Mark 5 and I do have that head sculpt, but the hair here is more accurate to the film compared to the head sculpt that was included in the full version of diecast Mark 5. And I don't know, just the head sculpt here, the eyes, the way it's painted, the hair, it is just so much better in my opinion, compared to the Mark 5 version. And moving on to the articulation for this figure, it's a normal body. The suit is not restrictive at all. As you can see here, the head sculpt is on a fixed neck. It does move around. The suit doesn't restrict too much movement. As you can see here, you can raise his arms on the side. In here, you got to be careful because even though I feel like it's not pleather, you still don't want to leave him, I suppose, in that kind of pose if you could help it. I mean, if you don't care, that's fine. You can have him kick up pretty high if you want to. You can move his arms forward, bend the knee almost 90 degrees right there. There's some joints on the pivot on the elbows. You see some ankle articulation, right? He doesn't have socks. You can have him do a split, but be careful on the suit. So basically, you could do a lot of poses. You can raise his hands up high, but there's gonna be bunching up on the suit. I don't think you need to go past that mark anyway. There is waist movement because the suit itself is not one piece. There he does have like some sort of a belt, but that's included in the upper garment that he does have. Now let's go to some poses. I should have moved the hands. I should have just moved it like facing the camera, but I had it downwards. Initially, when you first disassemble this out of the box, I'm not gonna lie, it is scary because you feel like you're gonna snap something. But if you take your time, read the instructions, and once you get through where the points are where they're gonna snap, it's easier. I'm not gonna lie, it is so much easier after you go through that. And I have now more confidence to snap in and out because there's so many looks that you could do with this figure with these many parts, and they're fun and they're pretty cool. You can't deny that looking at this in this stage, can't say that it's not cool. It is very cool. So for those who doesn't want to repose their figure, there's 3 poses right off the bat that you could do with this figure. This, the one where he's hold the next pose, so you can leave him like this and I don't think you're gonna damage anything. This pose right here where he's just gonna pull the side on his chest, I'm doing it on the camera, no one can see it, where he pulls it out and everything comes out. This is another pose that you could do and then leave it alone. Pose him this way, pose him the other way. Those are the 2, I would say, go-to poses for this figure. In here, you don't have a whole lot of pieces because he's just starting. I've done this in reverse, as a matter of fact. This because he's just pulling out all the parts of Mark 5 from that briefcase. And one of the most iconic scenes in all of Marvel is when he transformed from Mark 5, because that sequence where everything's just moving around, the pieces of the armor is just kind of snapping together. I remember back then I was like, man, that is cool. Because the first time we saw it on Iron Man 1 when he was assembling Mark 3, you still have that wobbly face and then the faceplate closed, and then we were just like, man, that's cool. But they took it to the next level with this one. I actually prefer this more than the Tech Nano suit that he does have on Mark 50, because in here it feels still robotic, like mech type. And here he is, and I'm surprised he was able to maintain this pose and with a rotating turntable and without falling. He was able to maintain his balance here. I wasn't able to. I was scared to have him hold that thing. I'm not gonna lie. So I just like my post here is kind of like he's on the process of reaching out and grabbing those handles so he could transform to Mark 5. I probably could have done that if I wasn't too scared to do that. I feel like he's gonna tumble over if I push it a little bit more. And here he is with a Mark 5. Now I'm leaving my Mark 5 now in a battle damage state. I don't know, there's something about battle damage that just speaks to me. But as you can see, he's on a taller side because he is his I'm using his base and I'm not using Mark 5's, you know, normal base. But the armor itself is taller than Tony Stark, and he's holding the briefcase from Mark 5, so you could post him as such. One thing I wasn't able to do is have him next to Whiplash, because I forgot to shoot that sequence, but nonetheless I do have him. And this sequence right here is pretty cool. You can display him like this, or just use him as a standalone Tony, or make him. There's a lot of display options for the suit up version. And there you go. Final thoughts on the Mark 5 suit up version. It is expensive, and it might not be for everyone, but man, it's cool. It's cool. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Would I recommend this before Mark 5? No. I think Mark 5, the armor itself, is a better value. It's a better figure. However, if you're an Iron Man fan and you already have Mark 5, this is a nice complement to that. This is a nice addition to any Iron Man that you do have, because it's so unique that you captured Tony Stark in the process of being Iron Man. And to me, there's a lot of value in it, at least display wise, storytelling wise, photography wise. Sure, you're limited to some poses that you could do, but it is a specific moment in a specific time where he did this. But that brief moment was cool as hell. I could say that. Could it have been better? Sure. They could have implemented this with magnets, and I think that would have been a lot smooth. But I'm telling you right now, it's not as bad as some people made it out to be. I didn't spend more than 15 minutes putting them together. Once I learned where the snapping points are, just take your time, and the next go around, you'll be so much better. So if you are that type of person who wants to, to tinker around stuff, this would be good for you. Because like I said, there's only few figures where you can drastically change the look, and he's one of them. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.